Okay, let's get to the real shit. First and foremost, Anthony Blinken is in China. Colin Ruggs says Anthony Blinken gives China the green light to invade Taiwan during his visit to Beijing, China.
On Taiwan, I reiterated the long-standing U.S. One China policy. That policy has not changed. It's guided by the Taiwan Relations Act, the 3 joint communiques, the 6 assurances. We do not support Taiwan independence. We remain opposed to any unilateral changes to the status quo by either side.
For people who are mad about this, they just have, I guess, never really heard an American, an actual American non-brain broken individual like Biden or Nancy Pelosi talk about this. Because since Richard motherfucking Nixon, since normalization started, this has and will continue to be America's statement on Taiwanese independence. They always have claimed that Taiwan is still technically a part of China, where they are, it's one China, but 2 systems, okay? That's it. And on the other hand, while they've maintained that perspective for diplomacy, they have still simultaneously given a lot of weapons and a lot of training to Taiwan as well. Even back when it was literally an unhinged. Taiwan now is very different than what Taiwan was in its inception, for the record. But originally, Taiwan was literally led by people who lost to Mao and claimed that they were the real China, that the entirety of mainland China belonged to the Taiwanese or not the Taiwanese, but the Chinese that were in Taiwan, and that America's perspective originally was that this military dictatorship was actually the real China. And then Richard Nixon changed that dynamic, okay, dramatically. Normalized relations with China in general. It opened up a lot of doors. It actually led to a tremendous amount of Chinese prosperity down the line and created the Chinese nation state that you know now, okay? So it's more so America lying usually that has led people astray, because they claim that there's a one China, 2 systems policy, but then they also simultaneously are like, yeah, we'll do everything we can to push for as much autonomy for you as possible on the side. So that's it. That's always been the case, and they're not hiding it. They don't really lie. They're very open about lying, is what I mean. Like, America has always been very open about, saying one thing about China and then doing an entirely different thing. But what he's saying here is no different. What he's saying right now is no different than the exact same principle that has been in existence since Richard Nixon. So that's just how it is. This is how one country, 2 systems is Hong Kong, not Taiwan. I mean, they have a similar fucking process for Taiwan as well. What do you mean? They just see it as an autonomy, like a region with some level of autonomy, but it's absolutely one China. So is this statement simply to appease the CCP? It is. Hasn't our position been that we recognize China's position, but we don't agree or disagree? At least we could have, maybe we're trying to pull a Nixon again. The only time that they have strayed away from this position was when Joe Biden had a brain fart and literally was like, we'll fucking invade China if China does anything to Taiwan. Outside of that, they've always had this position. This is not new.
We continue to expect the peaceful resolution of cross-strait differences. On Taiwan, I reiterate.
So yeah, that's, I like that this is like the unhinged response to that though, overall. We view PRC as China and remain ambiguous about whether we defend Taiwan or whether the status quo to change. Yes. We're going to talk about the missing submarine in a second. Why would they change this? That would mean nuclear war. I mean, it's not even that. It's just like, here's what would be worse than even nuclear war in the minds of like those who care about this sort of thing. America and China rely on one another. America needs treats, and they are a massive consuming force. Those treats are oftentimes manufactured in China. So we need China for manufacturing, and China needs us to purchase the treats. So for that reason, ultimately, it's always ridiculous when people are fucking arguing back and forth with one another over what the fuck should happen in China. Okay? That's why when Nancy Pelosi went to Taiwan, it was a big deal. It was like ridiculous. It was fucking up the bag for no reason. The majority of Taiwanese people definitely do still favor, especially the Taiwanese youth, as far as I understand, favor independence. But the majority of Taiwanese people are like, don't rock the boat. Let's keep it going the way it's been going. Don't fuck this up. That is usually, that is the broadest position in Taiwan. Obviously, it ranges from the second largest group, the plurality, saying that they would inevitably want independence from China. And then all the way down to like the most unhinged group of people that believe that mainland China is actually, it belongs to Taiwan. Okay? But that group is like fucking ridiculous and ultimately irrelevant and nowhere near as important in Taiwanese politics as they once were. So we wouldn't be able to find clothes in our stores if they went to war with China. Plus, they have all the manufacturing now, which made America recover after Pearl Harbor. They would destroy our Navy and we wouldn't be able to do a thing. No, that's not. Well, no. Yeah. My Taiwanese friends think that. That's so weird to hold on to like a grudge of being fucking owned. Anyway, dude, Hugh Janus, you have to fucking stop with this. Take a day off. Your my cock jokes are it's so bad, dude. I get it. You constantly do it over and over again. It's like more annoying. Like, I get it. Your name is Hugh Janus. You already fucking have that going for you. Please stop. Anyway, so that's the China stuff. That's where we're at with China. Let's take a look. Here's a rare Trump, a new Trump, a wonderful Trump. Trump is back.
2016, you said that. I'm going to surround myself with only the best and most serious people.
Well, I did do that, and we had tremendous. Look, we had the best economy we've ever had. The world has ever seen.
Your Vice President, Mike Pence, is running against you.
Yeah.
Your Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, she's running against you. Your former Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, said he's not supporting you. You mentioned National Security Advisor John Bolton. He's not supporting you either. You mentioned Attorney General Bill Barr, says you shouldn't be president again, calls you the consummate narcissist and troubled man. You recently called Barr a gutless pig. Your second Defense Secretary is not supporting you, called you irresponsible. This week, you and your White House called your White House Chief of Staff, John Kelly, weak and ineffective and born with a very small brain. You called your acting White House Chief of Staff, Mick Mulvaney, a born loser. You called your first Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, dumb as a rock, and your first Defense Secretary, James Mattis, the world's most overrated general. You called your White House Press Secretary, Kayleigh Canadian, milquetoast, and multiple times you've referred to your Transportation Secretary, Elaine Chao, as Mitch McConnell's China-loving wife. So, why did you hire...
Dude, I don't know. It seems like you're posting his dubs, honestly. So I will tell you one thing, not to be too much of a Trump dick rider here, but Ron DeSantis would never, okay? Ron DeSantis refuses to take up interviews where he might get some contentious talking points. He only goes to dick riders for interviews. Donald Trump will go on fucking CNN. Donald Trump will go on Fox News and get fucking dick road. So let's see how his response is going to be. But this is actually fucking hilarious. None of which matters, by the way, because ultimately all of those guys are fake in the eyes of Trump, and therefore everyone else thinks they're fake. Like the Trump base it looks to Trump as their North Star. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the former administration officials have said about him or what he has said about them. And ultimately, a lot of those people are servile little pigs, okay? They're dogs. So if Donald Trump were to capture the attention of the majority of the Republican Party and win the Republican primaries, which he has a pretty good shot at doing, every single one of them would turn heel, or not turn heel, sorry. Every single one of them would genuflect, just like they did last time around, just like they did in 2016. People don't remember this, but Charlie Kirk, back in the day, was anti-Trump originally. Candace Owens was anti-Trump and a liberal. Charlie Kirk was a Republican, but anti-Trump. Ben Shapiro was anti-Trump. Ted Cruz was anti-Trump. Every single one of these people turned around and said, you're the GOAT. You're the king. We love you. Okay? That's it. So a lot of this like shit slinging back and forth is ultimately meaningless. It's all dependent on whether or not Donald Trump will win the Republican primary.
All of them in the first place.
Because I hired 10 to 1 that were fantastic. We had a great economy. We had phenomenal people in charge of the economy. We had phenomenal people in the military. I'm not a fan of Milley, and I'm not a fan of certain of the television people. But I knocked out ISIS. I defeated ISIS. They said, Mattis, it would take 3 years, and I don't think we can do it. I did it in a period of like 4 weeks.
There's a lot of people who praise you for your policies. I just said that.
That's true. Well, I mean, you just went through a list. But don't forget, for every one you say, I had 10 that love us. And one thing happens, I find, with...
Do we have a longer video? I want to watch this whole thing because it's pretty fire. It seems good. It seems like good shit. Is it out already? Because I would like to partake.
Trump wrapped is.
Oh, I need the fix. Actually calling you out. Oh no, what will I do? Stop. Oh my God, there will be drama.
His first TV interview since his indictment number 2 last week. He sat down with Bret Baier for an exclusive interview. Here's a preview where Bret asks him why he had these sensitive national security documents at Mar-a-Lago.
The only way NARA could ever get this stuff, this back, would be please, 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 could we have it back?
And they
please,
asked for that.
Because they have no. We
They
were
did
talking.
ask for it.
No, and
they said,
I gave
"Can you
them
give the
some,
documents back?"
And we were talking.
And then they said they went to DOJ to subpoena you to get them
Which
back.
they've never done before.
Right.
And in
But
all
why not
fairness,
just hand them over then?
Because I had boxes. I want to go through the boxes and get all my personal things out.
No, that's fire, dude. That's so good. Like the idea that like this entire fiasco, the idea that this entire fiasco is because Trump just wanted to keep the boxes for one reason or the other is hilarious because it doesn't fucking matter, dog. It does not matter. It doesn't matter. You just were not supposed to have those
Mr.
fucking
President,
boxes.
thanks for the time.
Thank you.
You know, I've asked this question, the same first question to all the candidates I've interviewed this year, and that is this. What do you think is the most important issue facing the country right now?
So many, so important, but we have to straighten out the economy. We're going to do that through inflation. We have to straighten out our border where we have millions of people pouring in, and we're going to do that very quickly. I had the safest border in the history of our country, and now we have the most unsafe, I think, anywhere in the world. There's never been anything like it. We have to strengthen up our military. Giving $85 billion to Afghanistan didn't exactly help, but we have to strengthen up our military, get the woke out of our military, and basically respect all over the world. We don't have it anymore. We had tremendous respect 3 years ago. We don't have respect anymore. They don't listen to us. They don't care about us. They just don't do what we want them to do and what they have to do, especially since we make life very good for many countries, and we have to get that respect back. And if we don't, we've got some big problems.
We asked viewers to send in questions on social media. We had a ton of responses. Here's one of them. Erica tweets this. What is the first thing you will do to turn this country around if you get elected?
Well, I do two simultaneously. I'd start drilling. We have the most liquid gold under our feet oil than any other country, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia, and that's going to bring down the pressure on inflation, and we're going to have very little inflation very soon. We had virtually none when I was president. And second, I'd close up the border, because we can't have prisoners and people from mental institutions coming into our country. They're emptying out from all over the world, not just from the 3 or 4 countries we talk about, the neighboring countries all over the world. They're coming into our country at levels that nobody's ever seen before, Brett, and we have to stop it. And they are emptying out their prisons, and they're emptying out their mental institutions and insane asylums into the U.S., and we're not a dumping ground. I would stop it immediately and get a lot of the bad ones out. We'd get them out very quickly.
Fox viewers were able to watch your speech here at Bedminster.
They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom.
The day of your arrest and
Can you believe it?
federal
arrest by my opponent.
appearance in federal court in Miami,
Right.
and your explanation of the Presidential Records Act and your defense, how you and others believe that that applies here. Obviously, you know, other legal experts, your Attorney General Bill Barr, they do not think that that applies to handling classified national security and defense materials. But that legal battle aside, I just want to ask you a couple of specifics. Why
I did everything right and they indicted me.
I love that shit so much, dude. It's just so good. It's just so fucking good.
I did everything right and they indicted me.
Oh my God. Ay, 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 this fucking mouse, dude.
Sensitive national security defense documents, like the war plans for a strike on Iran.
So like every other president, I take things out. And in my case, I took it out pretty much in a hurry, but people packed it up and we left. And I had clothing in there. I had all sorts of personal items in there, much stuff. And by the way, when Bill Barr, who's, you know, a coward, Bill Barr was a coward. Bill Barr didn't do what he was supposed to do. I fired him, and he has great hatred, and that's okay, because some people do, and some people love me very much. He didn't resign. I asked him, give me a letter immediately, because he didn't have the courage to go after so many different things, and you and I have discussed it before, but he was a coward. And he obviously doesn't like me too much, and there are a lot of people that don't, and there are a lot of people that feel just the opposite.
But on the specific on the
let me
documents.
just explain.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of things in there.
Let him explain, Brett.
I will go through those boxes. I have to go through those boxes. I take out personal things. As far as the levels and all, everything was declassified because I had the right to declassify. You want to talk about a mess, take a look at Biden, where he's got 1,850 boxes. He has boxes stored in Chinatown in D.C. He has boxes stored at Penn Center, and he has boxes under his Corvette.
Dude, I absolutely love that his counter to 37 counts, including espionage, is I was going to get around to it, and Joe Biden did worse. It's like, it's awesome. I mean, he is just absolutely relying on winning the presidency. Outside of that, he has no counter. He has no out. He has nothing that would hold up in a court of law. He's just like, well, I was going to do it. I was going to give it back. I was going to get around to it. It's fucking crazy, dude. It's crazy. He did everything right and they indicted him.
And around his Corvette, sitting in a garage for years, where it was very seriously classified. I have every right to have those boxes. This is purely a Presidential Records Act. This is not a criminal thing. In fact, the New York Times of all had a story just the other day that the only way NARA could ever get this stuff, this back, would be please, could we have it back?
And they
please,
asked for that.
Because they have no. We
They
were
did
talking.
ask for it.
No, and
they said,
I gave
"Can you
them
give the
some,
documents back?"
And we were talking.
And then they said they went to DOJ to subpoena you to get them
Which
back.
they've never done before.
Right.
And in
But
all
why not
fairness,
just hand them over then?
Because I had boxes. I want to go through the boxes and get all my personal things out. I don't want to hand that over to NARA yet. And I was very busy, as you've sort of seen.
Yeah, but
I've been
according to
very,
the
very
indictment,
busy.
you then tell this aide to move to other locations after telling your lawyers to say you'd fully complied with the subpoena when you hadn't.
But before I send boxes over, I have to take all of my things out. These boxes were interspersed with all sorts of things, golf shirts, clothing, pants, shoes. There were many things. I would say
Iran war
much more, not that I know of, but everything was declassified. And Biden didn't have the right to do that because he wasn't president. Nor did Mike Pence, by the way, have the right to do that because he wasn't president.
All right, I'm not going to belabor this.
No, but when you look at
want to
this,
just get to the
other
specifics.
presidents, when they leave, they take the papers. They have thousands and thousands. Obama had it. Nixon had it. Carter had
Their
it. The
argument
Bushes
is that
had
these
it.
are super sensitive national security documents. All right, so here's
I'm sure you'll
this
see
is-
real super sensitive that Biden has, because Biden has far more than anybody's ever kept.
And he turned them over when
No,
asked.
he
but-
didn't.
but
He
that's
still
what he
hasn't given
says.
the 1,850 boxes that's stored at the University of Delaware. In fact, they're fighting them in court,
Right.
and they're fighting them. And
But he
the
opened
boxes,
up for them to look at it.
excuse me, the boxes from Chinatown, he didn't turn them over. He sent them up to his lawyer in Boston to look at before they handed them over.
And there are special counsel is looking at that, and we'll see what comes out of
Well,
it. But
you
I
can
do want to
imagine-
just
you can
end with
imagine
this. I
what's
don't want to
gonna
dwell on it. But according to the indictment, you were here at Bedminster on July 21st, 2021, after you're no longer president, and you were...
I do love Chinatown being mentioned because like they make it seem like Chinatown is like a dog whistle for China because Americans are so fucking stupid that they literally have no way of comprehending that like Chinatown isn't America and it's predominantly American people living there, that like automatically he keeps saying Chinatown to invoke spies, like Chinese spies. They're the ones who are controlling Biden's documents. Because like remember, they literally did this during COVID, where they literally were just like, during COVID, in the beginning of COVID, they were like, oh, I can't go to Chinatown because I'm worried I'm going to get COVID. Okay? I'm worried I'm going to get COVID if I go to Chinatown. Like, that was the whole fucking perspective that these hogs and hoglets and hogalinas had. So he's just kind of running off with that. I personally love that shit. Okay? Just like I love when, what's his face? Gifts another 50 big ones. It's crazy. Okay? Holy shit. 34 MKD 50 with another 50 big ones. My man is juicing me up. He's like, bro, you're in Japan. You're still fucking delivering insane content for us in Japan. The fun never stops. The content never stops. You know? We got you. I got you.
Recorded saying that you had a document detailing a plan of attack on another country that was prepared by the U.S. military for you when you were president. The Iran attack plan. You remember that?
Ready?
You were recorded.
It wasn't a document.
Okay.
I had lots of paper. I had copies of newspaper articles. I had copies of magazines.
I know.
I
This
had
is
copies of
specifically a
everything.
quote. You're quoted
And
on the
I know-
recording saying the document was secret, adding that you could have declassified it while you were president, but, quote, now I can't. You know this is still secret, highly confidential. And the indictment cites the recording and the...
Dude, he's getting ass blasted by Fox News for two reasons, okay? One, because the Republican Party, those who have power within the Republican Party want Trump gone. That's number one. Number two, he's dead. He got God. Like, they got him dead to rights. So it's pretty fucking ridiculous. Because there's no out for him on this issue. And it's also kind of hilarious because like they're looking for like some kind of defense. And he doesn't really have one. He has nothing. Like, he got caught red-handed and he recorded himself admitting to a crime.
I did everything right and they indicted me.
And it's like, you can say that all day, every day, baby, but I don't know.
testimony from people in the room saying you showed it to people there that day. So you say on this on tape
It says just the opposite.
that you can't
And let me just
declassify it.
tell
So
you,
why have it? is
When
what
I
the question is.
said that I couldn't declassify it now, that's because I wasn't president. I never made any bones about that. When I'm not president, I can't declassify.
And that's what you said. You didn't
I said
declassify it.
that. I said no. I said I couldn't.
could have
but that wasn't a
declassified it.
document, Brett. There was no document. That was a massive amount of papers and everything else talking about Iran and other things. And it may have been held up or may not, but that was not a document. I didn't have a document per se. There was nothing to declassify. These were newspaper stories, magazine stories, and articles.
I'm just saying what the indictment says.
Well,
the recording
these people-
and the
look,
people in the room who
These
testified.
people are very dishonest people. They're thugs. They're thugs. If you look at what they've done to other people, what they've done to and overturned in the U.S. Supreme Court, these are thugs.
The
These are
suggestion
dishonest
was that
people.
you wanted this as evidence that the military, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Milley, had preemptively sent you plans for a possible attack on Iran and that you didn't order that to happen. That's the
I
suggestion.
never ordered it to happen. No.
But that's
No.
why you wanted the document.
I don't think I've ever seen a document from Milley. Milley, frankly, was incompetent. The last one I'd want to attack with as my leader would be Milley. That I can tell you.
All
but
right,
I think
last
you
thing
know
on
that.
this. There are 31 documents listed. Nuclear capabilities of foreign countries, related to military capabilities of foreign countries, intelligence briefings on foreign countries. Why do you want to hold on to those documents after you?
To show Kid Rock. Brett, I want to show Kid Rock. Do you know Kid Rock, Brett? He's so cool. I love his music, believe me. He's such a fun guy. If you ever seen a song by Kid Rock, have you ever listened when he says, I call it statutory, they call it statutory, I call it mandatory. I love it. I love it. I have to show Kid Rock the documents. Believe me, Kid Diddler Rock.
Your president.
I don't say I do.
You just didn't know
We
what
were
was in the boxes?
discussing with NARA, giving them back. All of a sudden,
NARA.
we've got raided, which is a violation of my, Fourth Amendment rights. They raided my home, and they came and they took things. We were discussing this with NARA. Look at Obama. Look at Clinton. Clinton took documents. Clinton took tapes in his socks. And you
Interviews
know
with
what
his
happened?
story.
The Clinton socks case.
I do know it well.
And it basically said the president has every right to keep whatever he wants, and that includes me.
And the question
This
is
was
whether
not a criminal case. Let me tell
highly
you.
classified government national security documents fall in that
I
category,
think-
and that battle is going to be fought in the courts.
It's already been fought.
All right.
There's a decision strongly that you can keep. But I wouldn't have kept. But they raided my house. They came in and raided. We were discussing, having very good discussions with NARA, a radical left group, by the way. And all of us.
NARA, radical librarians. Folks, these guys, believe me, they're radical. They love the documents. They want to maintain them. It's so weird. Why? Why do you want to do that? He said the radical left NARA. These are literally just like librarians on fucking steroids, okay? Just straight up book accountants, okay? They are accountants for something even nerdier. They're bookkeeping, but not even like numbers wise, okay? They read, of course, they're leftists.
All of a sudden, my house got raided.
You know what's funny? While this is hilarious and idiotic, I do still believe that a lot of people will look to this and go, yeah, he's right. No lies detected. The radical leftists at NARA did this to our great president.
Do you know if you still have any highly sensitive government
No,
documents?
I don't have anything, no.
Okay.
But what I'm concerned about, they took everything, right? I don't know what they took. They could be stuffing it. I don't know what they put in there. And we wanted to be there when they were taking. They wouldn't let anybody in the room. They've never treated a president like this.
Yeah, I wonder why, dude. Because it turned into a criminal investigation. Because you lied. You literally lied to fucking NARA and the authorities. And you gave them a clean bill of health. You gave them a document that stated that you gave back all the classified documents to NARA that they wanted to retrieve. And that was a lie. You knew that it was a lie. You openly lied to them. So then they had to fucking actually subpoena you. They had to subpoena and they had to get a search warrant, which a Trump judge offered them. That's false. His lawyer was there and to sign on the... yeah, you're right. Of course, the lawyer was there. One of Trump's lawyers was there and did sign off on what the FBI took as well. But ultimately, it doesn't matter because, like, it got to a search warrant because he lied to his legal team. He fucking withheld information from his legal team. He openly asked his legal team if they could withhold certain documents and like obstruct justice. Like, that's collusion to obstruct justice on an active, ongoing case. Okay? It's just so silly. It's so stupid.
And that's fair for you to point out. I guess what this points to is this recording where you said you could have declassified it when you were president. You didn't.
No,
so it's still classified.
When I was president, but there's no document there. Those were newspaper articles.
Okay.
They were copies of articles and magazines. There was no document there. And I couldn't have done it after I was out.
This is what you said in 2016 about handling this.
In my administration, I'm going to enforce all laws concerning...
Oh, that's nasty. That's actually fucking nasty. Him hitting that's like, what is this, MSNBC or fucking Fox News at that point? That's nastiness, dude. I mean, he hit him with that. Hit him with his own words from 2018. That was a different time. That was 2016. I hated when people were stealing classified documents. This is like, yeah, Jon Stewart would be doing this on a fucking interview. You know what I mean? Whoo, sheesh.
the protection of classified information. No one will be above the law. We also need to fight this battle by collecting intelligence and then protecting our classified secrets. We can't have someone in the Oval Office who doesn't understand the meaning of the word confidential or classified.
Your Vice President Mike Pence says he's, quote, deeply troubled by what's in the indictment. And he says, quote, the indictment contains serious charges and I cannot defend what's alleged.
Mike Pence had documents that were classified.
And he turned them over.
No, he didn't turn them over. He got caught. His lawyers found some documents, and then he turned them over. Why did he have them? He shouldn't be saying that because he had classified documents. And immediately they said, oh, that's okay. And I suppose it's going to be okay with Biden, too, even though he has them in Chinatown, even though he has them in Delaware, and probably 100 times more than I have.
So you're not worried about this case?
Based on the law, zero. Zero. Presidential Records Act, plus the Clinton case, which was won by Clinton as president because he took tapes of leaders in his socks. Zero.
Okay.
Zero. And every good lawyer has said it, and you've seen that. Every good lawyer has said that.
Obviously, there are others who push
saying?
back. And
This was a weaponization of politics. This was a weaponization of the White House. This was a horrible thing. A candidate that's leading, I'm leading Biden by a lot, they go out and they weaponize. This is a horrible thing that was done.
Well, let's talk about the politics.
It's never been done.
Let's talk about the politics. You're facing, obviously, a number of potential charges in other cases, and I know you've said that you believe that they're political witch hunts.
Of course.
But what do you say to the voter who really liked many of your policies?
They still do.
But they can't handle the scandals or the controversies or the name-calling or the vitriol. What do you say to that voter who's worried that that all leads to a general election loss?
So based on the polls, I'm leading Biden by a lot. Based on the polls, I'm leading all of the Republicans by a lot, by 40 points. I don't want to hand that over to Nara yet, and I was very busy, as you've sort of seen.
Yeah, but
I've
according to
been
the
very, very
indictment,
busy.
you then tell this aide to move to other locations after telling your lawyers to say you'd fully complied with the subpoena when you hadn't.
But before I send boxes over, I have to take all of my things out. These boxes were interspersed with all sorts of things.
Brett Baier, Fox News chief political anchor and anchor of Special Report, joins us now by phone on his way back into New York after this interview. Brett, what was your takeaway from your talk with the president, having just come off this second indictment?
Yeah, Martha, good afternoon. I think, listen, defiant is definitely part of the answer, but he really denies flatly some of the things that are specifically laid out in the indictment. And I talk about, in further questioning after this, about the indictment and the recording.
Chatter saying goodbye make me want to fucking kiss myself, dude. Like, literally. I just, like, I don't understand. We're not ending the stream, dude.